seen. And, you know, and act one was going slow and stuff. You know, but it's like Lord Attenborough used to say, we must all let go of our darlings.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The best of the best.
Thank you.
Is that what you were thinking of? Because when David Robert was saying there were some beautiful things that were cut, I saw you starting to raise your hand here. Was that the scene at the funeral that you remember?
At the grave.
At the grave.
Yeah.
You showed the end of it.
And you mentioned key scenes. The kitchen argument is one, obviously. It's almost like you're trying to put him on trial, and he's pretty good arguing. He's pretty good at arguing, isn't he?
Well, every judge is a lawyer, and to me, there was this sequence of scenes which are, you know, down in the cellar with the home movies, and that kicks this off, and then the judge going outside and me chasing him, and that whole kind of, you know, I just felt like those are kind of like the trial, like you're saying, as I try to put him on the stand, but, you know, even though I don't want to put him on the stand, somebody essentially wins the argument, I can't get a confession out of him, you know. And I thought that was
Yeah, it's interesting because scenes like that, you know, the really great scenes working with him. It was terrific in the kitchen and other ones as well. You stay within the confines of your temperament. Something way in the back of your mind, without being conscious, checks the fact that you don't go overboard or you stay with your own temperament. It's you doing it, and it's you being mad at that moment. You know, those things happen, but you don't exceed what you could do in a situation in life like that.
And staying in that, I understand, David, that Robert added a line in the scene that was a very key line.
Bobby? Oh, yeah. No, there was one take, and he came out over to me and he said, I feel like I want to say something about him not, you know, who waited quietly. And of course I was like, yeah, try it and do it. And it was a really, really important, it was maybe the most important line that was somehow not written. And he gave that performance which is on screen, where he says, we all waited for you quietly, but you never came. And it was just heartbreaking when you saw it, but your instincts took you there. You wanted to say that to him. You wanted to.
Those kind of things, you surprise yourself. You trick yourself at that moment. And then it goes into another thing, but it's all a valid thing coming from you, not out here, but here.
That scene was really cool because we crossed the cameras and we really set it up so that that was a theater scene. That was a stage in a kitchen, and they were allowed to just run in and do whatever they needed to do. We blocked it a little bit quickly, and then it just really happened. It was a capturing of a real moment.
Well, also, Downey added the line, I needed you.
Yeah.
That was a cool addition too, that made it into the cut. But the whole thing, and talking, as Duvall was saying, about calibrating it, was interesting, is that in the original draft that David sent, we never went into the courtroom. And then when we developed it, we went there. But the reason we went there is because the payoff to the kitchen scene, which is, there was this concept that if you could have an opportunity to, if Hank could have the opportunity to put the judge on the stand, a guy who understands the law, was not going to lie under oath, and ask him questions where he has to tell the truth. So the first attempt, you know, to really kind of let that emotion out was in the kitchen. But the place where it gets paid off is in the courtroom, so we had to go to the courtroom. We knew whatever we did in the courtroom was important, but it was really about getting to that moment. And I remember reading it in the draft and always picturing the moment in the courtroom between them when he's asking about the past and they're discussing it for some reason. And it's so crazy to think about it now, having seen it done properly, but in my bad version in my head, that was a screaming moment in the courtroom. And when they did it, we didn't know how they were going to do it on the day, because you don't put that up until they're there. And they did it so quietly and with that sort of single tear, and it was like, wow, okay, that's how you do it, which allowed the kitchen to be a lot bigger. But the real moment of honesty in the courtroom was much quieter. And it was really interesting because those are great discoveries that you just get to see at the monitor, and David and I just get to look at each other like, wow, you can't imagine it until you have two great people doing it.
How much time did you spend on that kitchen scene? Was that
That scene was done in half a day.
half a day?
Yeah, all the big, crazy, like, stress on it for week scenes just happen really quickly and efficiently. But I think also, like, quiet as it's kept, David is a very organized, he's a perfect balance of a director, easily one of the best directors I have or ever will work with, where he makes these stress-inducing parts of a shoot very, very manageable, and he's very meticulous about all the little things that support those scenes. And he doesn't have, 1,000 notes for every take. He doesn't exhaust you, and he's not controlling. He really wants to set it up and let it happen, which was for everybody. Everybody in the cast was just like, oh my God, this is the experience that I was hoping it would be. We just had this amazing time kind of telling this difficult, evocative story, but we had a blast making this movie. I mean, he would be passing weird notes around, and Billy Bob would be like doing Sling Blade, and we were goofing off. But I've heard
Notes right before a big emotional scene. I can't tell you what the notes said, but they were nice notes.
because it was heavy, so there was this levity. And just speaking of scenes too, to me, really one of the hearts of the movie. All the scenes with Sam, I think, have to do kind of Hank's backstory at the heart of the movie. But there's a scene, and pretty soon you're doing all these scenes, doing art. Here's another heavy scene. Here's another heavy scene, and here's this scene about that, and here's this scene. But it's the one where the judge is having a bad night after he's had the chemo treatment that day. Hank goes in, and to try to distract him, says, "Who's your favorite? Well, who's the best lawyer you ever saw?" And by the end of the scene, realizes that his dad has named him after this lawyer who didn't care what the ramifications were of just defending someone because that's your job. And so it was speaking of the type of person he wanted Hank to be by naming him that, and that's really the moment. And it was just so beautiful to watch it because we were shooting stuff every day. It's like, what are you doing today? Well, today we'll do the shower, the shower scene that begins with incontinence and ends with a knock-knock joke. I was like, great, that's going to be an interesting thing to figure out tonally. Yeah. And then after lunch, we were like, oh my God. And then there was just this very, very long, it's a monologue, but it just rolls off Bobby's tongue like he's just remembering it for the first time. And I think it was that thing. To me, that scene is almost like a dream where Hank gets information about the keys to his own salvation from his pops.
Hey,
That was the one line that was cut. I always wondered why it was cut.
That was
Well,
on
we'll
the
do it
porch.
for you now.
On the porch.
You mean when Hank asked the judge if he still beats off?
Yes, what age? When do you guys stop?
What age do you stop beating off? And the judge says?
I'll let you know.
I fought to keep it in.
Is that not making fun?
It was the porch scene after the tornado and the fight, and he comes home and they have that slight reconciliation before the big day in court and that sort of thing. And it was a great scene, but it had like 3 or 4 movements in the scene. Just different ideas. And what happens is, again, when you're running it 4 hours or more than that, you show it to some people early on, and there's a certain story that they want to follow. And, you do have to trim amazing moments like that. And, well, yes. But you have to set up the questions of it all,
That'll be on Bobby's director.
Yeah,
We have 4 cuts of this movie coming out. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm taking away from tonight is that there's definitely going to be like a 2-disc.
Oh, it's me! Can we afford it?
So most actors hate watching themselves, but you're telling me you're...
You know what? Honestly, I've just had this education by, really just for the last year with working so closely with Dave and having this experience with Bobby, but for a long time with the misses of just you get out of the habit of concerning yourself solely with. Can I watch that last playback on my close-up? It's like, no, you weirdo. How sick are you? I think that's the only thing that's going on here. And so I had this much more objective experience. So I would find myself oftentimes just like playing back Bobby stuff, because I'm like, wow, and this whole scene is going to hinge around this small thing he did, or this bit of wit he brought in, and you get out of the habit of being self-centered.
Okay, he's not lying, and he did ask to see other people's takes, but the fact that you're acting as though you didn't also ask to see yours, I challenge that.
But he was very objective.
He did, objective, yes,
Very
and
objective.
wanted
She's
everybody.
extremely hormonal and they say
It's actually a great thing,
I
because
can't
it's
believe
an
she hasn't swatted anyone in the audience yet.
No. What I was going to say, though, is that you do bring a great, and I think Bobby would agree, there's a great energy you bring to the set because you have a real joy and excitement over the process. And it doesn't matter whether it's his take or his coverage or someone else's. If something we just did is exciting, whether it's a sad scene, a happy scene, whatever is going on, he wants everyone to see it. And not everybody likes that, but it's great as the filmmakers to sit and watch and see what's working. And there's a great kind of, I mean this in a really good way, there's a great cheerleader quality about, what you bring to it. And so, yes, you did, but you also saw yourself.
She calls him Norma Ray. Because he's in the most beautiful way. He's always like out for everyone else's performance. And we're like,
And this crew has worked an almost 9-hour day. Shouldn't we get like a yogurt truck or something? just you're tired. Go back to your show. Take a nap.
And the missus did say that you have seen this movie like 20 times. And every time you watch it, you cry 2 or 3 times during the movie. How many times have you seen it, Bobby? Twice. Did you cry?
I cried enough for both of us.
I cry when they pay me, yeah. I got moved with myself, with others. You do it. It's a pretty engrossing film when you get into it, yeah, it really is.
I think that's a beautiful moment just to end on.
Thank you for coming. See you on the podcast.
not a bad question.
We're going out that way. Thank you for coming. It was great.